Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we'll be learning how to create patterns from old clothes. You can pause to read the screen. The first step is to study the clothes before you seam rip them, and then you can seam rip them. And I would recommend that you start with stretch fabrics as they are easy to learn and put together again. Take your pattern paper, whatever it may be. Let's begin. This pattern is for stretchy fabrics because they are good for beginners. You can lay your back pattern piece folded in your pattern paper. Align the edges properly so that your pattern is equal on all the sides. You can place a ruler on top of the fabric to draw your lines as you'll be doing on the screen. Trace the shoulder line, the bottom line or waist line, the bottom of your fabric, the side seams, and then you can freehand the neckline, or you can just follow the pattern of your clothes. Align the folded edge of your fabric and trace with the ruler and trace the side seam. And then you can trace the armhole freehanded. And one thing you can notice is that the back armhole is less shallower than the front armhole. And next you can label your pattern, your size, etc. Place 1 centimeter seam allowance on the inside of the main lines that you just traced out. This is because stretchy fabrics are stretchy and they sometimes need you to reduce the seam allowance or add to it depending on the fabric you use. And don't forget to label the folded part as on fold. And now for the front pattern. We are now going to repeat the previous steps that we did before. And my stretchy fabric has a V-shaped neckline, so you trace just like before the side lines and the folded part, the armhole. You'll notice that the front pattern has a more steeper side than the back pattern. You can adjust the neckline however you want. You can trace the pattern lines again if you need to and label them like you did previously. Now for the sleeves, you will need just one sleeve for this part. Here I already traced out the outer lines for the sleeves, and make sure that you lay it flat. If the sides are curved like mine, you can do a straight line. Don't forget to label the grain line. The grain line is where you would want your pattern to stretch when you cut it out from your main fabric. You can also use a permanent marker to trace the main lines of your pattern. And the notches, which I'll explain later in the video. Here I'm using my permanent marker to go over the lines that I drew out and adding the seam allowance on the inside. And label the patterns like you did previously. Mark the back of the pattern and the front of the pattern for your sleeves, just like you see in the screen. Remember to add the label cut to as you're supposed to cut out 2 patterns for the sleeves. Another thing to note about the pattern of the sleeves is that the front part will be more steeper than the back part, and that's how you know the difference. Then put your notches, 1 for the front, 2 for the back, so that you don't mix them. Here I'm retracing the lines that I drew out for my pattern with my permanent marker. I'll recommend you do this so that what you have labeled does not fade out, because pencil fades out over time. So it's best to use a permanent marker if you plan to reuse the patterns over and over again. Use a steadier pattern paper for that purple. You could use a cardboard or a stock paper or a brown cover paper, the one that's steadier, for cutting out book covers. There's just lots of things you can use, and that's practically it. You made your first pattern. And if you like this content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like, and please comment, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. God bless and have a great day. Bye.